Have you ever stood beneath the stars and felt a strange longing? A quiet ache, as if somewhere deep within you are trying to remember something you've always known but forgotten. Not a memory of this life, but something older. Older than your name, older than your blood. The ancients called it Anamnesis, the act of remembering, not learning. Remembering who you are. There was once a man who believed that beneath every face, beneath every voice, there is a song. A song so ancient, so perfect, that it governs not only the beating of the human heart, but the movements of the planets, the rise and fall of empires, the breath of the cosmos itself. His name was Pythagoras of Samos. Today, we reduce him to a theorem, a diagram, a formula scratched onto classroom chalkboards. But the real Pythagoras was not just a mathematician. He was a mystic, a philosopher, a soul who listened to the music of the stars. And in their harmony, he heard a truth few dared to imagine, that the soul does not die. It journeys, it learns, it returns. Stay with me. This is not the story of numbers. It is the story of the soul. Chapter 1, Pythagoras Beyond the Theorem. To the world, Pythagoras is the name of a rule. The square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. But in the ancient world, his name was spoken in whispers. The master of numbers, the hearer of harmony, the soul that remembers. Born around 570 BCE on the island of Samos, Pythagoras was not content with the comforts of home. While others debated politics and traded goods, he embarked on a journey both outward and inward. He crossed the seas to Egypt, learning from the priests of Memphis and Thebes. He studied in Babylon, absorbing the star lore of the Chaldeans. There are tales that he wandered as far as India, seeking the sages who spoke of cycles of life and death, of karma, of rebirth. Wherever he went, he asked not how to rule men, but how to rule the soul. When he returned, he carried with him not riches, but secrets. Knowledge not just of numbers, but of the laws that bind spirit to flesh, flesh to earth, earth to sky. In Croton, in southern Italy, he founded his brotherhood, a community of seekers, bound by silence, by ritual, by the shared hunger to know the hidden order behind the visible world. And at the core of that teaching was this: the soul is not born once. The soul has no beginning and no end. The soul is immortal. Chapter 2, the Wheel of Rebirth, metempsychosis. The Greeks called it metempsychosis, the transmigration of souls. The journey of the soul from one body to the next, not as punishment, but as education. Pythagoras did not teach this lightly. He claimed to remember his own past lives, that he had once been Euphorbus, a soldier who fought at Troy, whose soul, upon death, passed into other forms. A fisherman, a priest, a scholar, even perhaps an animal. For Pythagoras, the boundary between human and animal was not as sharp as we think. Life moves in cycles. The soul learns through every form it takes. Each life a lesson. Each lesson a chord in the great song of being. Those who are cruel in one life may return to suffer the same pain they inflicted. Those who cultivate virtue may rise, their souls shining brighter, their ears attuned more perfectly to the harmony of the spheres. But there is no judgment seat, no external God weighing your sins on a scale. The universe itself is the judge. Karma is written into the fabric of reality not by decree, but by balance. The soul reaps what it sows. And in time, through many births and many deaths, the soul learns to play its part in the cosmic symphony. Chapter 3, Tending the Flame, Discipline, Purification, and the Path of Ascent. If the soul is immortal, if it journeys through lifetimes, then the question arises, how do we prepare the soul for its journey? The Pythagoreans were not merely thinkers, they were practitioners. They lived by a strict code. Silence was sacred. Each word, each thought, each action was to be weighed carefully. They practiced catharsis, purification, abstaining from meat, for they believed all life carried the breath of the eternal. Fasting, to humble the body and elevate the spirit. Meditation, to still the mind and sharpen the soul's ear. But above all, they believed in the power of music. Not the music of entertainment, but the music of healing. Certain modes for the morning, to awaken the soul. other modes for the evening, to soothe the passions and bring the spirit to rest. They believed that just as the body must be nourished, so too must the soul be tuned. For the soul itself is a harmony, and when it falls out of tune, it suffers. Discipline, then, was not punishment. It was tuning, like tightening the strings of the lyre, like setting the sails of a ship to catch the right wind. Chapter 4, the music of the spheres, cosmos as song. In the teachings of Pythagoras, the stars were not merely distant suns. They were notes in a divine melody. Each celestial body, from the smallest planet to the greatest star, moved along its path according to mathematical proportion ratios, harmonies, intervals. These were not random or accidental. They were deliberate, chosen, designed. The universe, he taught, is a living instrument, and each star plays its note. This is the music of the spheres, a great cosmic symphony, forever playing, though unheard by mortal ears dulled by earthly noise. But the soul, if purified, if disciplined, can begin to hear this music. Not through the ears of the flesh, but through the resonance of the spirit. Imagine, the planets in their orbits are like the strings of a lyre, each length, each tension giving rise to a distinct vibration. Venus, gentle and sweet like the major third. Saturn, heavy and slow, like the deep bass of the octave. Jupiter, noble and broad, like the perfect fifth. All of nature reflects this harmony. The heartbeat, the rhythm of breath, the cycles of the moon, the tides of the sea. Even the growth of plants follows patterns of sacred geometry, the golden ratio, the Fibonacci spiral, echoes of the same logos that governs the stars. To understand the cosmos, then, is to understand yourself. For the same music that moves the stars also moves within the soul. Chapter 5, Memory and the Awakening of the Soul. But if the soul has lived before, why do we not remember? Why do we awaken into each life as if it were the first, blind and forgetful, struggling to remember the song? Pythagoras taught that this forgetting is not a flaw. It is mercy. To carry the full weight of every life, every sorrow, every joy, would crush the soul beneath memory's burden. And yet beneath the surface of forgetting there remains a spark. Sometimes it stirs in dreams. Sometimes in déjà vu. Sometimes in the quiet ache of recognition when we meet a stranger who feels familiar, or visit a place we've never been yet somehow know. These are echoes, reminders, glimpses through the veil. The Pythagoreans believed that through anamnesis, remembering the soul could recover fragments of its journey. Not memories of the small details, names, places, events, but memories of the eternal truths the soul has always known. The harmony of justice, the balance of virtue, the beauty of mathematical proportion. Learning, then, is not acquisition. It is recollection. Philosophy is not discovery, it is remembrance. The teacher does not give knowledge. The teacher helps the soul to remember what it already carries inside. Closing reflection, the immortal flame. And so we come to the end of this journey, or perhaps only to its beginning. For if the soul is truly immortal, then death is not an end, but a door. A passage to another life, another lesson, another step in the dance of eternity. And the choices we make here now shape the path of the soul's journey. Every kindness, every cruelty, every harmony we create, every dissonance we sow. The soul is not judged by an outside God. It is judged by the laws of harmony itself. The cosmos does not punish, it tunes. And when the soul falls out of tune, it must be corrected. This is the vision of Pythagoras, a vision that sees beyond flesh and bone, beyond numbers and theorems, a vision that hears the music behind the stars and remembers that we too are part of that song. Tend your soul like a musician tends the strings of the lyre. Tune your life to the harmony of the cosmos and listen not just with the ears, but with the heart. For the song has never stopped playing. It is we who have forgotten how to hear. If this reflection has touched you, if it has awakened even the faintest note of memory within your soul, then I invite you to share this journey. Subscribe, reflect, and join me as we continue to explore the forgotten wisdom of the ancients. May your soul remember its song, and may you live in harmony.